A routine traffic stop turned into a nightmare when a racist cop pulled over a black man for no reason. With a smug grin, the officer tightened the cuffs, convinced he had all the power. But what he didn't know? This wasn't just any man. He was someone with authority far beyond his own. And in just moments, the officer's world would come crashing down. What happens when you arrest the wrong man? Stay tuned. Darius Reynolds had spent years serving his country, but today he was just a man driving home after a long day. The city lights flickered past as he hummed along to the radio, his mind already on dinner with his family. Then, flashing, red and blue lights. His heart sank. He hadn't been speeding, he hadn't broken any laws. But as he pulled over, the officer's heavy boots approached with a purpose. Something about this stop felt off. And soon Darius would realize this wasn't just another routine pullover. Darius kept his hands on the wheel, his pulse steady. But his gut told him this wasn't just a traffic stop. The officer sauntered up, eyes scanning the car like he was hunting for a reason. "License and registration," he barked. Darius complied, moving slowly, carefully. But it didn't matter. Step out of the vehicle. Confused, Darius hesitated. "Is there a problem, officer?" The cop's jaw tightened. "Now!" Before he could process, the door was yanked open. Rough hands dragged him out, shoving him against the hood. Cold metal snapped around his wrists. "Resisting arrest," the officer muttered, satisfied. Bystanders watched, some pulling out phones, but no one intervened. Darius felt the familiar sting of injustice, but today this cop had no idea who he was dealing with. And in just moments everything would change. Darius stayed silent as the officer tightened the cuffs, pushing him toward the squad car. He'd seen this play out before. Black men arrested first, questioned later, but then another car screeched to a stop. The doors flew open and out stepped two men in suits, their badges flashed under the streetlights. "Release him. Now," the officer scoffed. "And who exactly do you think you are?" One of the agents stepped forward, stone-faced. "FBI." His gaze locked onto Darius. "And that man you just arrested? That's Special Agent Darius Reynolds." Silence. The officer's face drained of color. His grip on Darius loosened, but it was too late. The damage had been done. And now, the real consequences were about to begin. The officer stammered, his hands shaking as he fumbled to unlock the cuffs. Darius rubbed his wrists, his expression unreadable. He had faced worse in the line of duty. But this was different. This wasn't about crime. This was about skin color. The FBI agents didn't let it slide. They pulled the officer aside, speaking in hushed, serious tones. His arrogance had vanished, replaced with panic. He knew what was coming. As Darius watched, he thought of all the others who weren't FBI agents, who didn't have a badge to save them. How many innocent black men had been humiliated, arrested, or worse, just because someone with power decided they were a threat. Today, justice was on his side. But for so many others it wasn't. How many more will it take before real change happens?